New count. Hi everyone, it is Amanda Munchies, and we are live here on the Bud Show. We have a lot of amazing guests. We are on season 2, episode 10, I believe by now.
Wow.
Holy cow!
Nice.
So thank you everyone for being here. Double digits, yay, in season 2. We have some undo here at the front of our show right here. So if anyone gets too medicated, it's going to kind of be a test to see who has to undo first. So if anyone's feeling it, you certainly can.
Is that a challenge?
A little bit.
Maybe up for that.
And then we have amazing, Stephen brought some yummy good stuff. We're all sipping on some hot cocoa, right? You can tell us about this in a minute. We have some exciting guests. We have lots happening in our political world right now, and so we have some guests that are going to be telling us about that, right? Is that fair to say? And then we're also going to be talking about products that are in the cannabis industry today, and that folds right into you, Stephen, and products in the cannabis industry, so it works wonderful. So why don't we go around the room, and I'll actually do ladies first, since you're sitting here with us, my dear.
I was going to say, really? There's one in the room.
I gotta say, I love your.
Other than you, my dear.
I love your cocktail there.
Thank you.
I'm totally digging your
Stony
shirt.
Chicken. Shout out Stony Chicken out there. My name's Michelle Westenfeld. I'm from the Phoenix Cannabis Coalition, and again, we're going to talk about some exciting things that are coming for cannabis here in Arizona.
Yeah.
So get ready, kids, and stay tuned, okay?
Yay! And you'll tell them a little bit more about what those green flowers are all about, correct?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Sea of Green again. The tide is going to be turning and coming for the AZ, so get ready, guys. Really some important stuff coming.
Super glad you came. Otherwise, I would have been fully surrounded in a room of men. So I'm glad to have some more estrogen in the
There
room with
you
me.
go.
Not that I'm afraid of these guys at all. I know they're all nice and good guys. All right, who else we got?
I'm Nick Hoyt, and I'm just here as a patient today, weighing in on what's going on in the industry. And I do work in the industry a little bit behind the scenes, so just to offer some insight and talk a little bit about more of a pharmaceutical approach to cannabis as we transition into an era of more education and more testing in the field, and so we can get more consistent products with accountability.
Yeah, which rolls right into my guest on the right. So who are you, kind sir?
I am Ryan Tracy. I am with C4 Laboratories. We're an analytical testing laboratory in Mesa, Arizona. We do a lot of the potency and safety testing for many of the products here in Arizona and all the variety of different dispensaries and caregivers and CBD products and hemp products. You name it, we do it. But we're here tonight, I think, in large part to talk about the progression of Senate Bill 1494, which is a testing bill that will ensure that the patients of Arizona are getting what they're paying for, that it's safe, that it's effective, that it is what they think it is, and it's free of any adulterates or contaminants, which it's been 8.5 years. 8.5 years, and we are the last one in the country to do it, and it's about time that changes. So we are very close for that time changing.
When you say that 8.5 years and we're the last one, for anyone who might be new to what we're talking about, you're talking about testing and regulation on cannabis, correct?
So House Bill, or excuse me, actually it wasn't, it was prop. It was a proposition, voter initiative, Prop 203, when that was voted through. The language included a lot of things that unfortunately were written in an ambiguous fashion or weren't defined in a fashion that made it free from different interpretations. And the Department of Health Services was given a very short period of time to put together rules and to find out how to regulate, cultivations and retails and all these different things. Well, it just seemed monumental in that time frame to also try to tackle a testing program. So unfortunately, that was what they chose to leave out because of the terms of which they were given to develop the rules. I think they even recognized at that time that they would have liked to include it, but they were not given any time, and that had a lot to do with how the legislature dragged their feet and those type of things. But at any rate, doing that makes it super hard to change anything because it's a voter protected initiative, which means you have to get 75% support in both the House and the Senate to amend anything that was written in Prop 203. So if there isn't any testing and the language doesn't cover it and doesn't include it, well, then we have multiple bills. Well, Michelle's here to talk about one as well. We have all these bills that are going to make the program better, but unfortunately we have huge hurdles because we have to achieve a 75% support. And to get 75% of the government to really agree on anything is a tall task. Not to mention, now you add on top of that it's dealing with cannabis, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tall task, but I'm very grateful to say that we passed the Senate 30-0. We're moving on into the House, and today it was assigned to be heard in front of the Health and Human Services Committee.
Wow.
And then if that committee sees fit to vote it through, then it will go and be voted on in front of the House of Representatives. So we have a lot of momentum. Really, right now, there's only a couple things that could even possibly kill it, and I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that the state and the legislatures, respectively within the Senate and the House, do the right thing.
What can we as patients do when it comes to this?
Honestly, people say it all the time, but I don't know how many people actually do it. It matters when a state representative gets 1,500 emails on the same topic. When their constituents and the people that voted them into office speak and say, this is my voice, this is what we want, this is my will. This is appalling that we have not protected the patients for this long, and that people are just coming to find out. A lot of people assume that it's been there all the time because it's absolutely mind-blowing that it wouldn't be. So now that we find out, we need to use that voice. So we need to contact the state representatives because, in my opinion, if it's gonna lose speed and it's gonna falter, it's gonna be in the House of Representatives. And we have to contact our representatives and say, Democratic, Republican, whatever. We need bipartisan support because it's for the health and safety of the public.
So who in the industry is leading that front? Because honestly, if someone isn't providing that pre-written letter, provided a list of those phone numbers, kind of, I hate to say, but shoving it down everyone's throat over and over again, the chances of that many people doing it, what are those? And so who's leading this movement here in Arizona, if at all? Are there people that are doing that? Because I'd be happy to write to my center, or, I hate to say copy paste a letter, but realistically, you want them to say a lot of the same stuff. Maybe some of them should be story specific to what you're, I'm sure, experiencing, why you use medication, but some of the other stuff should be pretty specific. So how do we get that content to people?
That's a great question, and it really wasn't
Not
up
that
until...
it's your job either.
No,
Sorry.
actually it is. I mean, it is partially my job because we as a company and we as an organization, the ACLA that I represent, we are pushing for education and for engagement and for patients to be aware. And, so it is up to us. And really, to answer your question, quite frankly, up until the point in the last week and a half, when we had our last stakeholders meeting down at the Capitol, this was a no-brainer support across the board. So quite honestly, it went right through the Senate 30-0, sailed through, everything was fine. The stakeholders that came all agreed that it looked like it needed to look. Mm-hmm. And then in the 11th hour, now we have a couple of those stakeholders that would like to see different things added or different things changed or language massaged. But quite often when you change something this late in the game, it adds one extra hurdle. And things can change tremendously in one day. The whole landscape can change down there with one thing happening. So we don't want to add any wrenches this late in the game, and that has upset certain stakeholders. So to answer your question, it wasn't up until the last week that we had any concern that there would be somebody fighting against this bill.
Gotcha.
That anyone would come and say that this isn't an obvious solution to a huge problem. So it's only as of recent, and the ACLA, the Arizona Cannabis Laboratory Association, we are down there. We have our own lobbyists. We have a voice. I've been down there. I can't even count the hours. George and Connor from Level 1 Labs have been down there battling as well. Yeah. It is awesome to see that there's been a collaborative spirit and a unified voice amongst the laboratories. The credible and legitimate laboratories that are here to push forward the industry have come together and said that we're going to have a voice.
That's awesome. Why don't you tell us more about ACLA?
Sorry,
it's
all
right. It's all right. We dive in. We go. This is a show where we get passionate about what we're here for, and I love the passion, and it's important that we all have it. So I love it. What did you bring for us? Feed us some CBD. What do you got, Steven?
So
What do you
everyone,
got?
I gave out some hot cocoa.
Okay, cheers.
Everyone, that's our awesome hot cocoa. It's our new vegan premium vegan line. It's a hot cocoa mix with a CBD blend. So each bag is this is our bulk bag.
Did you say vegan? So there's actually no.
No animal products.
Gluten free, no refined sugar, diabetic friendly.
Oh.
So I partnered up with a company that's I'm not allowed to say anything yet, but
Triple top secret.
exactly. So they own a chain of vegan organic companies, and we're looking to take CBD and refine it into a CBD organic vegan line that they can put in all their stores and all their health food places. So we are going to be turning that into a CBD product.
It's delicious.
So I R&D'd and I've been screwing around with CBD, and you guys are my guinea pigs.
Well, I think it's
yay.
delicious. I don't know about everyone else in this
I'm a
room.
happy
I've
guinea pig.
almost dodged. Thank you, thank you.
And I added it to my QT coffee and made a wonderful
That's my
mocha
girl.
out
I
of it.
love what
You
she
got
did there.
I'm
That's my
caffeinated
girl.
and medicated all at the same time,
Also-
guys. Cheers.
We are making a vegan smoothie CBD mix as well.
Ooh.
So these are sample packets for everyone to take home and try.
Ooh.
Pass them on down.
Ew.
And they are all organic, all supplement, has protein in
Do
it.
they have CBD in them?
They do have CBD. This is
Oh,
a
you're such a
non-medicated.
tease.
It's a non-medicated version,
Yeah, I said it.
unfortunately.
He's a tease.
I'm a tease. But I want reviews on it because this is what we're trying to change the industry into. Healthier, more viable, organic foods. Nothing that's processed, anything that has preservatives, dyes, anything that is going to stop the endocannabinoid system from receiving the medicine that it needs to give you homeostasis in the body.
Yeah, because
So-
it is kind of sad sometimes. I mean, I love CBD and I love sweet treats, but it is a little bit sad that that's the only products you really see CBD in. Like, unless you go to like a medicated dinner, and even then, most time it's a THC medicated dinner. Like, I would just love to see like
And that's
some
the
savory.
thing. That's what one thing we're trying to do is we're trying to take the stigma of medicated edibles have to be super fat and high polyunsaturated fats and have all these preservatives in there, and it doesn't have to be. And we try to make it a little bit, less is more.
Okay.
And we're more fresher, we're more viable. We're not gonna have a shelf life of 6 to 8 months, but our
Yeah.
product is good enough to where it's gonna be consumed in that shelf life period. So.
I love that.
And then I brought some gummy bears as well. These are our turf bears.
Yay! Gummy bears.
So this is our new
Does
line
anyone get
that
mad at gummy
everyone-
bears ever?
We take terpenes
No,
from
no
the plant,
gummy bear.
and we emulsify terpenes with our gummy bears and
They're
the
mad
CBD.
right now.
And these are the blueberry and the red berry OG. So
Gummy bears down.
They're
Gummy
awesome.
bears down. They're going down.
by far, these are what's selling in
Yeah.
the dispensary more than my edibles, which is cool.
So these are in dispensaries.
So
Are
we
these
are.
are these good for? Can we eat them?
Yeah, please. They're medicated. Each
Oh,
gummy
he already
bear is 10
handed them to
milligrams
me.
per
I
gummy
just
bear.
assumed. I'm
Don't mind
Amanda
if I
Munchies.
do.
If he hands them to me, they're getting open.
You can find all our gummy bears at
Alright,
Herbal
let's
Wellness
shelter
Spots, Nature's,
Maybe. I might need
Nature's,
your gum.
Nah.
also Nirvana too, Phoenix as well. And you can also find us at. Wow,
Yeah, we'll
these
go
things
to
are
the back.
really sealed.
They are really
Does
sealed.
anyone got a knife?
To ensure freshness.
Look at this. Yeah, this is D-Tree's quality right here. Look at that shit. But anyways, we're also on CBD Online. We're also on the Hempful Wellness Market. We're really all over the place. You can look at dtreats.com, and we have a list of locations where we're at. We're pretty much here. We do patient advocacy. We do patient instruction. We also do
happen
patient
system.
education. We're very big about education, teaching patients about the endocannabinoid system, teaching people about healthier eating habits, about looking about the free radical system in their body and the viability system in their bodies. A lot of people just look at food and eat it and consume it and don't care about what they intake in their body.
Probably this.
With CBD
got
and healthier
havoc on the
eating, it can
microphone.
really change a person's life. So with D-Treats teaching that, we try to help patients take that whole mindset of CBD being an alternative drug or being just like THC. So
Yeah.
we're just like Mr. Tracy. We're trying to get that stigma away and make it a better place.
No doubt.
So everyone got down on some cherry OG terpy gummy bears, some nom nom.
The best ones are the
set
blueberry
these
ones.
right here.
Those are
Yeah,
good.
those are my
Open.
favorite. I'm waiting for him to open them.
So good,
Totally
I can't
am.
get 'em open.
I am. I'm waiting.
And then the second round, I'll show you guys right now.
Oh my God, you can
But
keep
this
those
was-
for the second round for
This
sure.
was made from Beth, our operations manager. She was playing around in the kitchen and she made a brookie, a vegan brookie. So it's a vegan cookie and a vegan brownie made love together, and then she put a vegan gummy bear on top of them.
Oh my
So the
goodness.
small ones for you guys to sample, the big ones for you guys to take home.
Wow.
And they're all CBD infused as well.
Right
So the
on.
big ones are 50 milligrams and the small little bites are about 5.
Wow, we're super blessed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you want to take one down, pass them around. It goes with the
Oh,
hot
look, I
chocolate.
saw the corner. Look, I did.
I
I
have
told you
napkins
all.
in case you guys are, need some crumbles to wipe off.
I gotta
Thank
say,
you very much,
the
Steve.
texture on the gummy bears is
Oh,
just
yeah.
I appreciate you.
And the burst of cherry
Did you
flavor
get 'em?
is rocking. Absolutely
Did you
rocking.
cut them open, or did you eat them all?
the blue word of that.
No, got 'em right here.
Oh.
I'm hoarding them.
Oh goodness, these ones are my favorite. You can have the cherry ones, but those ones you gotta share. Okay,
Oh,
hold
Eat, please.
They all went silent.
Thank
eating.
you, Bethany. I know, for real. Sorry, viewers.
Did you hear that,
Very
Beth?
Go grab a
nice.
munchie. It's munchie time.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah, for real. Thank
Well,
you.
we appreciate what you do. We love being an edible sponsor on your show because you do amazing things.
Well, this is delicious. I only am blessed because you all are here and share your knowledge with me and the wonderful people watching.
I feel
So,
humbled right now. It's like the Knights of the Round Table right now.
well, and speaking of that, ooh, I don't know who else is here. Is that still going or is it on one forever? It just feels like it's stuck.
Nope, 21 minutes.
It's not stuck?
No, just one viewer.
Okay. Just felt like it was. Ah! Right, so let's talk some more about what's happening in the industry. I know we kind of were talking a little bit pre-show, but let's maybe dive back into some of those conversations and share with our audience. And yeah.
Well, I think it'd be a great time to kind of dive in. I think Michelle's here to talk about a very, very
Tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow. It's huge.
Oh.
I mean, what we have to address, it is so pivotal and imperative for the industry. I think it deserves, a lot of our attention to talk about.
Well,
So.
thank you for pointing that out because again, and we encourage everybody tomorrow. And this is historic. What's going to take place, and we encourage everybody to join us to witness this. We are going to see opening arguments for the Jones case. If any of you are not familiar with the Jones case, that was the case that took our concentrates away from us kids. That is the judgment of 3 judges in, I believe, Yavapai County, who came to the conclusion that marijuana, the flower itself, is covered under the AMMA, the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act, but any of its concentrates, resins, or anything that's derived from it that we take from that plant is not covered. And that came in, I think, a good old Tricky Dick, 1975, when he declared cannabis a narcotic. Back in the 70s, that came back and bit us in the ass, kind of like we said. We weren't, in 2010, we really weren't thinking. We were trying to get things done quickly. We wanted some sort of medical program.
So this is illegal,
So now
right?
this is illegal.
And how many people use these, right?
Oh my goodness.
And they're sold, right?
Well, currently, right now, the edibles, the infusion market makes up, up to 60%.
In Arizona?
In Arizona.
And
So you're
it's
talking
illegal.
about. So think of it from this perspective. We're talking about 200,000 patients. You're talking about working up to $700 million of an annual revenue generated by our program, and you're talking about 60% of that dependent upon either edibles, infused products, concentrates, all the things that is exactly what Michelle's talking about. Is exactly what is dependent upon this their findings and what the ruling is. It sets a legal precedent, essentially, that now people have to fear prosecution. When in fact, without question, the people that wrote Prop 203 intended for this to be covered.
Yes.
It is absolutely an essential part of the medicinal property. It's an essential preparation for it to be truly medicinal for so many children,
And
for
everyone,
so many
everyone
vitally
can't
ill people.
smoke. Everyone can't
yeah.
smoke.
That's
That
exactly
thought
what
is
we're
insane,
talking
that
about
everyone
here.
can smoke.
And that's where you come in with the testing of these products from our flower all the way down to our concentrates, edibles, and all of that. And again, I also in January brought Ricky Lake's film.
Yeah.
We the people that discuss
And
children.
it's still touring
It's
right
still
now.
touring. Again, dealing with cannabis, cancer,
Kids.
and children. And again, we can't smoke away a seizure. with a 6-month-old, we have to have these
need that
concentrates. We must have them when we got cancer patients who can no longer inhale or even eat, ingest. We need our suppositories. We need our topicals and our tinctures. So again, tomorrow morning, and this is going to be at the Sandra Day O'Connor School of Law at 10 a.m.
ASU.
Downtown
Phoenix.
Phoenix. That's going to be 111 East Taylor. Okay, in downtown Phoenix. This is going to be the opening arguments. They're going to discuss this. We've been trying on the legislative end, like he's been saying. He's been seen him at the Capitol. That was for 2149. Is HB 2149? That's just to change the wording and clarify that marijuana and cannabis are the same rose, just a different name. Unfortunately,
we have to clarify that.
Yeah, we do.
Well, they're forcing us to by having things like this make its way through the judicial process and having people face criminal charges.
Yeah.
I mean, they've left us no choice because now patients are left unprotected.
Yes, and again, we're supposed to have some sort of protection. When we have this card, we're supposed to have some sort of immunities, and now we're finding out that we're not being protected.
You can get pulled over.
And then also I found out, as we've been up to the Capitol together, that a lot of people in our legislative have come to the conclusion that this took place in the judicial branch and should be settled in the judicial branch. So that's why we've got two battles now. So tomorrow, we're inviting everybody. We want patients, we want activists, I want industry, I want everybody, your grandma, your dog, I don't care, to the first 100 people, all right? And again, this is going to be very limited seating. We're going to have these little pretty carnations. I want them to see a sea of green. I want them to see us. We're not going to be allowed to speak. We're not going to be able to write letters. We're not going to be able to do a darn thing but sit there and watch them decide our fate. So why don't we speak up with just what I call the flower power, just to show them that we're there. And they will see us. Yeah. They will see us. We'll see the backs of their heads, but the ones who will be facing us will see us. So again, I encourage everybody, 10 o'clock is when this begins. Get there early. This is an educational institution, so I'll let you know there will be students, law students, who will be getting some of these seats first. So while we're there, we must respect what is going to take place. Again, this will be not only history taking place, but a learning experience for these people who are getting their degrees in law, who will be determining these laws as we move on into the future.
Very good idea to Uber down there. I've been down there.
Yes.
The parking is terrible.
Horrible parking. Yeah. Get there early. Uber, light rail takes you right to the door.
Yep.
Right to the door. Okay, so think of it that way. $4 gets you there and back. And again, early. We want you, again, be respectful. This is not a protest, okay? We are protesting with a flower, and we don't need to be attacking anybody. Don't bring signage. You won't be allowed bringing it in. You're just going to end up dumping it at the door. Flowers, though, we get to bring those in. They can't stop us from bringing
and we
in.
can wear green also.
And we can wear green, yes. We're also encouraging those, if we run out of flowers, wear your green. Wear your green. If you got maybe just a little button, you don't have to be too, outrageous, but just enough. And we'll fill that gallery up and make that sea of green a wave, a tidal wave of them seeing us. And again,
imagine if there were so many people that not only was the room filled, but as they entered, they were all outside.
We are expecting that.
There probably will be that many people.
We are expecting
that room will be overflowing.
Michael Weiser, our liaison up there at the Capitol, made sure to make a point that they are opening up the overflow rooms for us. Okay, so let's overflow it like we did the city when they tried to up the tax on our medicine. Remember how we all got together? Tomorrow is another one of those days, Canna Warriors. We need to be there. And again, I encourage everybody, patient, industry, this is our chance to come together. This is our chance to finally stop that rift that's been going on since 2005, for God's sakes. Come on, guys, let's come back together. Yeah. We'll be there. It's not just going to be me. It's going to be a lot of other volunteers. Again, Normal's going to be there also. We also have the Arizona Cannabis Justice League, and they're going to be there also. And we're going to be passing these out. And again, we're going to pass them out to all of you as well as the students who are going to be watching this. So come and join us. Watch history be made. And again, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate everything that you have been doing up there, because I see you up there too as we encourage patients.
I mean, Michelle, it's so important. I mean, there are so many families that we test for, and so many families I've been lucky enough to come in contact with. And it's not just, the children. I mean, obviously the children are vulnerable and they're very important, but, you have so many people's that lives are changed, not only the ones that are medicated by it, but the loved ones that get to see relief that come from it.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And for people to disregard that, and for people not to understand, the impact that this makes on families, it is imperative. If they set a legal precedent tomorrow, then if we don't change it in legislation, we're
screwed, right?
We're screwed. We're
done.
at a great risk of
if it
everyone is now
happens,
subject
everyone's
to prosecution.
Would the dispensary stop selling it?
Quite honestly, I can't speak for the dispensaries, but I'll tell you, if there is a legal precedence made, and if legislation did not quickly follow it to fix it, I would suspect you're going to see some of them fall in line, if not all of them, because now there really is some bite behind the bark.
And I asked that because for those that don't watch in Arizona, I mean, technically right now it's not legal, but all the dispensaries, and I'm not trying to call anyone out in a bad way, but we all have these products,
They kind of took a unified and a uniform stance to say, we disagree with your definition, and until we have due process that we're entitled to understand and get clarity, we'll continue to provide this medicine for our patients because we know how important it is.
In the meantime,
the industry is taking that stance.
Get pulled over, have their medicine taken, or threatened with jail time, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not.
That's
No,
what
and-
that's
and
what
you
I'm
are.
down to.
Oh, sorry. That's why this is
You're
so
right.
important,
It
though,
is
right?
100% correct.
Because again, what you're saying is, it is about the kids. But it's not just about the kids. I was dying today of a migraine. I wanted to take an ice pick to my brain. I couldn't smoke if I wanted to. My husband, thank God, had a cookie. He was like, "Here, eat this cookie," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Edibles, in those times when you need it, vape pens, all these things, this is what we use. And so again, I think it's important that people realize that, again, this isn't just a devil's lettuce that we are sitting around choking on to get fucking stoned. We are using it as medicine. It's
But we're
important.
being forced to do that now.
Yeah.
Again, flower is completely legal. We have no problem smoking it, but again, we cannot give a 6-month-old baby in the middle of a seizure a joint. We can't give a cancer patient who can no longer eat a joint, or leave it on one that's dealing with lung cancer. And again, some of our counties are definitely kind of waiting. Maricopa was kind of sitting back for a while, but now the police are saying now we're going to go ahead and start going after them and lining us up. Yavapai County, I believe, is already prosecuting. They got
this is where this originated from.
Right.
And
has
they
another
followed through
patient that's, I believe, being persecuted.
And that's the scary part, right?
That's where
now you go out there and it's left to the discretion of the engaging officer, the officer that made the stop or is engaging you, right?
Yep.
And how they interpret the law, or if they decide that they're hip on it and they understand concentrates aren't covered by it.
And as patients, you're scared.
Well,
you know you have your medicine, and you know you're screwed.
And confused. And we're all confused right now. Again, we're in this very gray area. So that's why we want to bring green to this gray area we're going to walk into, because they're going to want to make it black and white. Well, I'm just going to say, let's just make it green for now. Please just change it. I mean, I'm all for testing and all the other bills that are out there right now, but this, I think, is the most important to the patient. I mean, I'm all for testing. God bless you. And there are people who are testing and patients who are bringing their own stuff in. But having access to our medicine is very, 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 very important. And again, we've got patients who are very scared. We've got patients who are ready to come here because they're being persecuted in their own places. And now they're going, crap, can I even come here? Yeah. And again, people are watching us. They're watching us all over the world. I expect to see all sorts of news there tomorrow on what we're doing, because we're going to define it for everybody.
I think she makes a great point. Arizona, okay, so we're over here in the Wild West, but we have the third largest medical market in the country. It is $700 million annually, going on 200,000 patients. The 61 or 62 tons was consumed last year here in the state. I mean, this is no small industry, all right? There may still be small by numbers, but from an economic impact and from the patient side, it's a huge impact. And then I think, to your point, it is troubling that we have this program here. It's been as it has been and been beneficial to so many for so long, and then we have one arrest that jeopardizes a whole side of it, right? And then we have patients who, honestly, as she was talking, I wanted to make a point on patients being informed of what their card does and doesn't cover, and what they need to be doing as informed patients if they are pulled over. Listen, the last thing you want to mention is that you have a card.
Yes.
As soon as you give that, or that officer officer a card, you're essentially giving them permission to give you a DUI.
Yes.
Because they're going to
Oh,
test your blood, and if you're a regular user, you're going to be above the legal limit. You're going to be above the 5 nanograms or whatever it is for metabolites
My
in your
card
system.
is tucked in the back
All
of
right,
my
I have
wallet.
personal friends that have faced this, right? Where people think they're pulling that out because that's what gives them the ability to have it and travel with it. No, I mean, if it comes to that and they find it, right, and then you're being questioned, obviously from a legality standpoint, so you're not charged with the possession of a controlled substance, then you may need to use it. But honestly, it's not something you want to wave around, unfortunately, because you're leaving it to the discretion of the officer.
Right.
And that has to be fixed. It has to be stopped.
Well, and it's scary being a card holder because of that, and it's also scary because it stays in your blood so long, as you mentioned
sure
just
does.
now. So, like, as someone who had a DUI a long time ago from drinking and learned my lesson and don't drink and drive anymore, it's really scary to know at any time I could get pulled over and get a DUI.
And the
for my
consequences, as
medication.
you know, are no joke in Arizona for a DUI.
And it's
way
the
above
same
by to
thing-
15 grand, way above by
And
to a
it's
couple
the
days
same
of
thing
freedom.
for cannabis as it is for alcohol, if
they
I'm
treat
correct.
you
Yeah,
exactly.
I believe
have
they
to
still
do
give you the interlock.
breathalyzer, and so again, like, this is insane. Like, and again, it's not treated like medicine, but well, and it's a money market. I mean, it's money.
Money.
It's money.
Money.
Even the DUI industry in general is
It
money.
is a money racket, no question.
We won't go there, but it's sad, and so I hope people show up tomorrow and
And if not, keep an eye out on it. I know the news. I think
Share it.
3 and 5 plan on being there, so there's going
And
to
show
be some
support for 2149 as well.
Yeah,
you know?
and
I mean,
again, yes,
there's-
all
yeah.
all our bills. We've got several. We got testing. We've got lowering of card price, extending of the life of the card, the language of cannabis. We've also something about our e-cigarettes too, about having them overly taxed, which will
Overly
also
taxed,
affect
yeah.
which will affect our pens, kids. So even though it's about e-cigarettes, it still will affect our delivery system of our medicine. So again, we've got I think up to 14 now associated bills that have
that are
to
coming up.
Oh, well, that are already floating around. But, you know, he's talking about testing because that's very valuable because we want clean medicine. I'm talking about language because we want access to that medicine without persecution. So, again, we've got all sorts of sides of our government blowing up in front of us, and we green.
Yeah.
So,
And I think often we talk about and we encourage people, get engaged, use your voice. And I know, speaking for myself 3.5, 4 years ago, when anyone would say that to me, I'd be like, yeah, but what does my voice really mean? What am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
So I place one call or I do one email. In the grand scheme of things, what does it do? Right, and I have been afforded an opportunity and didn't really look for it, but through the natural progression of my business and through the industry, have kind of been, thrown in to taking a role and getting active. And now that I'm down there and I'm getting active, and I've spent quite a bit of time down there and worked with the people, I will tell you that when people are inundated and they are overwhelmed with the message and they hear it over and over and over, and a public figure or a politician realizes they will not get away with this in anonymity if they vote the wrong way. That there will be repercussions when it comes time to vote, quite
Which is
possibly.
what happened with the tax, correct? Is that a little bit of what happened with the tax?
blowback.
Right?
Honestly,
Correct?
yes. And if
But that's why it was shut down.
well, because
correct?
there
And we
was
came
such a
out- we
reaction,
came out
because
woodwork as soon as we heard it.
was such a reaction
Yeah.
that people were not
And
going
they
to
weren't
forget
expecting that either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they have to understand that for the most part we have thousands of bills that go through, right? And they deal from the littlest, tiniest thing to the biggest things. And normally only the biggest things get the attention, so then everyone's very particular on how they vote and how they're out in public and how the media covers it. Well, this has now become a big thing. Right? So the more we use our voice and the more people understand that there's going to be blowback if they vote the wrong way and they'll have to answer for it.
Yeah.
It's really helped. And that's right there, the way you make that clear is by using your voice and making a call, sending an email, doing something, but getting engaged really does matter. And everybody has the right to come down and speak. When these are presented in front of committees and they're presented in front of the House, they open up where the public can come and speak in favor or in opposition or wherever they're neutral if they want to, but your voice is allowed to be heard, and you would be surprised what kind of impact that has. They're human beings, right? You're talking about seven or
Right.
9 people
Heart
that are
strength.
humans, that are mothers, that
Right.
are fathers, that are sons,
who
that-
have family members who have cancer
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
epilepsy
And
or
you'll
any of these
discover
So your
things
that
story
we
can
have.
matter. They
talk
just
to
need to
them.
hear it.
Right.
And also,
And
like I
educate
said,
them.
they're human, and they want to hear from us, man. They want the real stories. When we were
Right.
up there
Mm-hmm.
lobbying, Stephen, you were there. They wanted it real. They are tired of having it sugar coated. Okay, they want to hear from us, and I know some of us are really scared and intimidated. But you know what? Once you get through it the first time, we took a couple groups through, and now they haven't had enough. Or if you are a little intimidated by that process, again, phone calls.
Yeah,
don't have
there's
to see your
other ways
face.
to participate.
They don't have to see your face, so you can put on a smile and or not, or that email. And again, like he said, it's an irritant. Man, I open up 200 emails every day. And if I saw the same subject every single day,
Yeah.
I'm really going to think about how
What
I'm
am I
going
gonna do to stop
to
this?
stop
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So again, you want to find these people. If I'm correct, it's azleg, like in your leg, leg.gov. You just go there, look up your representative, or just pick one. I don't even, believe it or not, it really doesn't make a difference if you're in their district or not. Just tell them, hey, please vote yes on the bills that we were talking about.
You may see a better response if you are in their district. and one
If
of the
you are,
voters.
they love to hear from the
Yep.
people they truly affect.
Well, and maybe we could
But-
do a little breakdown at some point.
Yes,
and
I'd
share
be
it with
more
our
than
viewers
happy to
of,
show
like,
you how to find out who these
and even come up
representatives
with a
are.
template of a letter. You
Well,
know, again, I don't want to make it easy for
That's
everyone,
where normal.
but the easier
That's
we.
where normal comes
Okay,
in, kids.
they
we'll
have
get
those
into that.
already?
We're working on that,
Okay.
but as far as getting you to your legislator and all that, yeah, that's on normal's website. Finding them, getting them there, and again, also giving you these tips on what to say,
Yeah.
how to present yourself, what you do in your
Perfect.
2 minutes.
Thank you,
Again,
Normal.
Normal, AZ Normal,
Thank
hey,
you,
Michael
Normal.
Weiser and everyone at AZ Normal. Shout out to you guys for helping us again. So yeah, let's work on that. And I don't know how much time we got left here. I think we got a minute.
Yeah, we got a little bit.
So
more than
yeah,
that.
again, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. downtown, Sandra Day O'Connor, come and get your green carnation and join us as one drop in that sea of green. Let's tidal wave these people and let them know that we are here and we are ready to fight for our medicine. We voted for it and we want it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to give up that easily. And I really think we have a really good chance. Because I've been listening to these people, and so as everybody else here that are making these decisions, they're coming to our side every single day.
Well, the more we educate them.
There
I mean,
you
I
go,
think
and
the big
that's
thing
where
is
we're
the more
going
we
to talk
educate
more
them,
about
the
that
more
too. So anyway,
have
yeah,
these
we got
conversations.
a minute, so I don't know what else we're going to do, but I'm going to drink some more of this delicious Boca I've got going over here because I'm liking the CBD.
Well,
That's
and
right.
well, even speaking on that, like
Yeah.
as a patient,
Yeah,
like
learn from,
as someone who, we want you to show up, right? You're the one that we want to show
Yeah.
up because you guys are already there, right? So we want patients to show up. Like, how does this impact you, and what do you feel about that?
Man, well, I mean, it's in the middle of the week, so it's kind of tough to be there for most. I think most working people. But I think some people in the industry definitely have weekdays off and should be plugged into this if they're not already.
There'll be some jobs lost.
Yeah.
What about
Think
maybe
about it,
having
I
an
mean-
ambassador,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
brand ambassadors take
Yeah.
a day and go and be a
Well,
brand ambassador?
Michelle, I
Yeah.
think he was just onto a really good point
Yeah.
that if you cut out 50-60% of a market, 50% of 60% of someone's sales, they don't need
Yep.
a staff anymore.
So it's not
Exactly.
just the patient, it's the businesses too.
Yeah.
There you
Well,
go,
yeah,
another
a lot
effect.
of people were suffering, And
Another
think of
effect.
all everything will go underground. Like, look what's happening in California right now.
Yeah.
No one's going to the dispensary over there. So I think that's a great model too. For
And then
like,
even
how
underground is also you don't know what you get either. So
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that's a
It's not like
Yeah.
they're testing.
Yeah.
Write that down.
that's a catch. 22. I love the underground, but I'm just saying like it's
Yeah.
it's a catch
Yeah.
22.
Oh, for sure.
Or anything unregulated. It's
Yeah.
the same with CBD as well. I mean,
Yes.
that is just ripe,
Oh.
ripe full of garbage. I mean, just absolute tire kickers and bullshitters
I was
all over the place.
Snake oil all over and
All over
carpet
the place. And don't
bags.
get me wrong, there's some good ones too, but oh man, it's for patients, for bud tenders, for everyone that deals in these products. I don't think anybody intentionally wants to take advantage of anyone. And the people that have the
Wait
answers
a
are
minute,
the
sure they do.
manufacturers,
Wait a minute,
right?
sure they do. There are shit
Not
people
I,
out there.
okay, no, don't get me wrong. There are, but I'm saying that
Sure there are.
quite often,
Yeah,
more
you're saying
often
not
than
all of
not,
them.
they don't know that they're selling
Shit
something
products.
that
Staff
has
members
nothing.
don't.
The staff members,
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
staff
yeah,
members.
that's
don't,
what I'm
but
referring to.
owners
But
know.
Yeah.
owners,
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
likely, they should know. Come on, they should.
Right.
And I think that's.
But the bud tenders certainly
Yeah.
don't know.
yeah, they
A lot of
don't
them
know.
don't. A lot of them don't.
So then here we give it to them, and it's.
But you know what is popular?
It's terrible.
THC percentage.
Oh man, don't get me started. Don't
Eat
give
some
me
gummies
started.
on it.
THC percentage.
The higher the better. The higher the better, right?
And hey, you know
No,
what's
I
really funny?
know.
Say no.
I'm
But
being
no, but
facetious.
patients don't know that because they don't understand really what cannabis is, what it does, what it's doing to our bodies, what happens when we do too much THC, not enough CBD, what, THCA, CBDA, we got all sorts of other stuff.
CBN,
And
right?
This is where we go back
different.
to getting us educated and all the other activities that are out there that are for education. I mean, Woman's Grow just did something on all this CBD, cannabinoids, and all that just at the beginning of the month, I believe.
I was just in a dispensary not just too long ago, and I was listening, overhearing, and some guy was like, I want 100% THC shatter. And
Not going to get that.
right, and the woman's like, oh no, this is the great, yeah, this is 100% THC. And he was like, 100% THC. And I'm just looking at the bud tender, and I'm looking at the patient, I'm just like, it was watching a small show because she's agreeing with him, and he's like, so this is 100% THC, like the best in the market. And she was selling him the top tier,
Yeah,
That makes my brain hurt.
I know.
Yeah.
and I walked away just like, this is what's going on, not just here.
Steve, that is exactly what's going on. Is you have
This
so
makes me wanna eat
we
gummies.
always joke about
Makes
this.
you wanna
We
numb
always
it.
joke about this that we have so many people that are so intent on spreading bro science as opposed to pro science and making people understand that like. Just like to his point talking about there's THC, everyone's focused on THC. If people would really understand that the true efficacy and the effect of the plant is more, it's more because of the well-rounded or a bouquet of different components, right? The chemo type of the plant. When you say it's chemotypes, that's the chemical profile, chemical makeup, and that makes up of
Wait.
cannabinoids.
Whoa.
Am I going too
That
too
was
hard
like,
on that one?
no. Look, you're going good, but you just went way too fast so that no one has to push rewind. Say that one more time, a little bit slower.
The chemotype of a
Okay.
plant, that is the chemical composition.
The whole composition,
It's
right?
the cannabinoids, the terpenes, all the different chemicals present within that plant to make
Thank
up
you.
that plant's chemotype.
Okay.
Okay, its chemical profile. If people would better understand that all of those pieces play together in a synergistic fashion, in a 1 + 1 = 3, as opposed to any one part on its own. Okay?
You just said, wait, you gotta rewind again.
I did. I was even slow.
I
feel it was
know, but you just
articulate.
said 1 + 1 = 3.
That's what
and
I'm
for
saying,
anyone who's
right?
watching, they're gonna think we're all
Well,
meditating.
I'm dedicating that to.
Okay.
It's more illustrating my point about the synergistic effect.
Gotcha.
Normally, 1 + 1 = 2.
But in this case-
in this case, it's those two parts are of more value together than independently apart.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when the terpenes and the cannabinoids are looked at from a synergistic fashion and how they work together, and you understand the different cannabinoids that are present, and I'd want to see some THC, some CBD, some CBG, some CBN. You give me something that has a lot of a big, a robust, different profile. Versus anything that's a one-trick pony that has 27% THC, 0.1% CBD, and no other detectable cannabinoids. I can almost guarantee you that the medical effect or the overall effect that you're going to feel will be more significant and more medically beneficial than you're going to get from that THC one-trick pony strain. But people look at it and say, oh, it's THC, that's what asserts value. Absolutely not. If you have something that has a great deal of terpenes, in a flower, something above 3.5%, 4% would be, that's a good amount of terpenes in a flower. That's a lot. You see something in that range, that's going to taste like, a party in your mouth. and then if you go and you look at the cannabinoids and you're seeing 17% THC, but there's 3% CBD and some CBN and some CBG. To me, that's the stuff I'm like, I want
what
to
you
check
want.
that out. Because that's truly, that's medicine to me.
So we went to Vegas because here I feel like we only see THC. To your point, we see THC or CBD, like that's all anyone
Talent.
really
Talent.
tells us about.
Talent.
But when we went to Vegas, and you're gonna have to help remind me a little bit. But we went to several different places, but we found a deal at one of the places where we got an RSO oil, and it actually had
Sarah Pines dispensary.
What one was it?
Sarah Pines dispensary.
There you go. And do you remember all the different things that were in the RSO
CBN,
oil?
CBG.
Like it said,
it was high on Delta 9 THC, super high. And these weren't low, they were always over 4 to 5%. Usually what we see here, it's like 1, 2%, pushing 3 sometimes.
On what?
On CBD and CBG, like full spectrum, that goes completely off the panel.
Okay.
And it had 3 testing certifications on it. So it had 1 from the dispensary, 1 from the state of Nevada, and one from the Department of Health Services.
And it was good.
Like, they
it
have
was
their-
Well, if it
good.
came out of that state, that means it's in a regulated state. Could you imagine if that was like Arizona, let's say?
And it was
That shit was-
and
you
it was
would get a lot better
affordable.
product.
And it was affordable.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and
That's
Nevada has a child steel lock proof, so they don't give you plastic bags. They give you a Mylar bag that's this big, and they put
feel
all
like
your
we're creating a
products
lot
in
of
there,
waste, like-
and it's a
Yeah.
child-proof bag
Yeah.
that it's
It's a lot of
tamper-proof.
waste, though. Yeah,
Lot of
is that
waste.
what
Like
you just
the
said?
gummy
I'm with you.
bears, they're in those child.
You started taking
Child
after the
adult,
Vegas people.
yeah. Penetration proof.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and I think you have a good point that a lot of patients do also want to go and support this, but you have to work, and so I think that's a huge
Fair point.
Are they
But
gonna
then-
live stream
Email
it, or
call.
like where we can have some kind of breakdown
We don't
discussion
know if
afterwards?
we're going to be permitted any type of recording. Again,
probably
this
not.
is a court hearing. Usually, we're not allowed to photograph during
But
during
they may
hearings.
on like a
But they
channel.
may,
Yeah.
and also because this is going to be in a school setting, it may even be on the in the school
ASU.
television.
and to the bigger point though, and that I want to make, and going back to what you were saying, is that these are jobs, and
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
it is important that the people that aren't working tomorrow, that are in this industry, consider showing up.
Sure.
yeah, if
Because
you got a day off, come
they
on
will
down.
be impacted by this, and it's not necessarily going to be you who
And that's
started your
another thing we
business.
need
You're
to
not
show.
going anywhere.
It's not just
Mm-hmm.
patients,
You
and I
know,
love my patients.
they're
and
not
everything,
going
but we need
anywhere.
to show the industry too, because this is not only going to take away medicine. This is going to take away jobs.
That's
this
right.
is also going to affect how we budget our government. Which I mean, these city governors and all these other people who are governing us should really be stepping up, because again, this is their budgets they're screwing around
And then
with.
they're going to want money. They're definitely going to want to
Yeah.
increase
So
our
this affects
taxes
so
because they're
many
going to lose
people.
all the money from that part of the industry that
Well,
they're going to need to make up for it somewhere.
unfortunately, you're right and you're wrong. They
Shades.
will lose money, but
Everyone's
right
losing.
now, the large portion of that pie can only be spent to further the program.
Okay.
And that's why we're sitting on a surplus of approaching $60 million.
Ooh, is that where we're at now?
Believe
What?
me, we have almost $60 million sitting in the medical marijuana surplus at DHS that has not been implemented towards improving the program, because that's where it has to go.
60
That's correct.
Yes.
Million.
$60 million. Or
Wait,
approaching.
Can we slow down
Approaching.
one more time on this one? 60 million?
That's correct, but the way that
I mean,
the
approaching
proposition
it?
was written, there's only certain places where they can spend it and where they can use that money.
Which prop is this?
Prop 203 wrote where they can and how they can and cannot spend the money.
again.
So now we have to sit
Were
on the
these
money.
people who
and
weren't in these were people who wrote this that didn't know what they were doing, right?
They were people that were more focused on getting us to have a market than they were making sure we had a well-defined and crafted
But also
bill.
know, as a voter, and I was one of those voters too, I wasn't really reading it very much. I was just
That's the
going,
problem with
medical
everybody.
marijuana, oh my God, I finally can get, an opportunity to get,
Well-
a lot of people were like, yeah, I can get stoned, but some of us who
You
were in
know-
the pill mill were like, finally,
But-
I can get
Sometimes you
out
got to
of
break
it.
down the door and then figure
So we
out
went
the,
for it.
the
So
stuff.
we went
I
for
hate
it. Now,
to say that.
Now wait,
And-
we went for it, and it was, I believe, our fourth try at it. So we were
That's
getting
what I'm saying.
frustrated, and we beat it. I think we what 5,000
By like
votes.
a few thousand
very,
votes,
Very,
yeah.
So again, it was a very margin, and again, it comes to the power of the voter. Because we also did again in 205.
Yeah.
People were like, no, I don't like it, and then it was a very narrow margin, and it was just like, oh my God, what happened? And we're going to do it again. So we want to make sure that we're going to do it right when we come to our legalization for adult use, because we don't want to
Hope
end up with
so.
another 203, because we're still paying for that. I know that I was part of that too when I jumped on the wagon and did the voting, but again, we wanted it.
Yeah, again,
We
I think
wanted it.
sometimes you have to kick down the door.
But that
and
comes
figure
back to the
out- I
history
hate to
of
say
our
it, but-
cannabis program and cannabis in Arizona.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to see another piece of that take place on Monday.
I would love to see us kick down the door legislatively so that
yes.
we could change it. But
Yes.
when you take down the kick down the door approach with a ballot initiative,
Doesn't work.
then you can never open that door again, which is a problem. And that's what we're seeing.
It doesn't
with-
work everywhere.
And then
Damn
and that's what we're seeing with
Can't
203.
imagine
That's
if
what I
it's
said
allowed.
earlier. That's the challenge we're facing. But I think, I certainly think the initiative needs to be there. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to probably pursue a lot of different angles on how to go about this, because you can do it legislatively, you can do it through initiative. Most important thing is that it's done correctly.
Yeah.
For sure.
What if in 2020 it just goes legal federally?
I doubt it will be in 2020 because that's an election year. That might be a promise of one of the, I would imagine probably the different candidates will talk about that being something they do, but I highly doubt they would do it right before the election. That's just my guess, because it's
What if
such
it was
a
like
polarizing
what if it was
issue.
like the
The
ace
Happy
in
New
the
Year's
sleeve.
Eve.
Like, I don't want to say the other word because that might be too.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't see it happening in 2020.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but I
But-
I feel like that's so
okay,
conflicted
but
though in our
hypothetically, what
industry.
would
I feel like
happen-
there's other people who've said the opposite. Like,
What would happen
2020?
if it went federally legal?
No.
That would mitigate everything.
The
that we're
only
dealing with on a
way
state
that it
level.
would
Yes, it would
happen
change
is if
everything.
both
Absolutely.
chambers of the legislature in Washington had full support in it. Oh, I'm sure that the president would sign it. But you're not going to see the president push that through when he wants to fight and do anything he can to try to earn another term.
Gotcha.
And he doesn't
Oh,
want to
this
lose
president
his
you're talking
staunch
about.
conservative
Gotcha.
following.
Gotcha.
He's never going to support that. Now, if the
Gotcha.
legislature goes and does this, and one
Gotcha.
of the congressmen introduced the bill, and all of a sudden it gets sweeping support, oh sure, he'll put his name to it. He said that before. But you got to remember too, to unhinge an industry of that size and allow people to now accumulate wealth, power, and resources scares the living crap out of the people that have ran this country for the last 70, 80 years.
Or any government.
Well, and even the ones that are already running it, just for now.
Yeah, they're holy. Could you imagine if somebody had morals and integrity and money?
No.
Our country could possibly go in the right direction. That would be catastrophic.
Mind blowing shit.
People might
happening
get
here.
their basic needs met. We might have some humanity and decency amongst the government.
Well, I mean, with the budgeting that,
That
you're
would
talking
be
about,
crazy.
with the money that you're talking about that could come from cannabis, I'm not trying to be like stupid or anything here, but that could cover Medicare costs. Like,
That's
that
not
could cover
stupid at all.
Healthcare costs.
It
That
is-
could cover educational
Cannabis
costs.
and industrial hemp will, in fact, be a
Yes.
commodity that drives this our entire
and it will
economy
be
is
the
going to
thing
be
that
impacted by it.
saves
Green,
us
green is
probably
green,
from where
come
we're
on.
going. Like, I just feel like we're on such a, you know, yeah. I'm
But
with you.
Let's do it.
I think, but that's where you're going to start seeing the crookedness and greed of some people that see this for what it is.
Yeah.
They're going to try to control it, and they're going to only let some parts through when they see fit. And then that part, but put a little roadblock here so that they can get in
Yeah,
get in
for
front
sure,
and get in the
for
way so
sure.
that they can capitalize.
For sure.
And that's what I don't want to see
For
happen.
sure.
Everyone talks about, this monster of corporatization of cannabis. I don't believe that corporatization of cannabis is the villain. I believe that it's corporations or operators that come in with lack of integrity and greed as their motive.
Yeah.
All right, because we need to have a certain corporate structure, organization
For sure.
support, some infrastructure. We need the professionalism. We need all those things to pull us out of that primordial ooze of the stigma we've.
And as a
we've
business,
come out
I
of.
want to grow to more than one state, and I
Yeah.
shouldn't be held in a
That's
bad way.
ambition,
like, that's a
and
bad
that's the
thing for
American
me,
way, and I think
right?
that's
as long as I
awesome.
care about patients, and again, still have that
Right.
integrity and the right drive and push behind my motives, right?
Well,
But
we
we're so
love
quick
that-
to
we
throw
love that
those
in
two
any
together,
industry.
though.
Right.
The corporatization is the villain.
Cannabis
It's
is
not.
something different.
Yeah.
We'd love that in every industry. We'd love integrity, and we'd love people who think about their
Well, there's
customer
a
base.
few, but they get
but
ran
again,
out.
But again, we've learned from other industries
Yeah.
that we're trying to avoid that.
But no other industry was founded on those values.
That's
the
what I'm
only
saying.
reason that it's here is because of compassion. Well, I'm not saying no other industry,
Yeah.
but the grassroots effort of cannabis and why it's here and why we're able to do what we cannot forget, came from people getting jailed and
Yes.
facing all kinds of things, speaking out when it wasn't popular,
Yeah.
because they were sick, because they had compassion, and because they cared,
Yeah.
not for financial.
For sure.
And that you got to always tip your hat to that, because now people are getting financial benefits rained upon them and forgetting very quickly about how we all arrived here. Right?
Well, and I think we can look to other industries, and for me, I think one that we could look to would be like the craft beer industry, where people have built their own brands and their own
niche,
breweries
their
and
own
small,
following,
right? And sure, the Budweisers and stuff are still trying to do it,
Still
but
swooping
anyone
them up left and right.
But anyone who knows like their craft beer and stuff, like we still, when we go places, we look for the local stuff. We want to try that's what we do, And so again, like I think it can be like that if
it already is.
Yeah.
A boutique.
Yes.
It already
Yes,
is.
yes.
It already is with
It
the
is.
exotic
Yeah. Yeah.
strains and things
Yeah.
like that. It already is.
How-
But seeing that in the mainstream, I'd love to see that, like we do with, like you said, our exotic wines and our craft
Yeah.
beers, and
Yeah.
again, different levels for different consumers.
Yeah.
Is what we want to see also. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got different tiers of patients
Yeah.
and different tiers
For
for
sure.
those patients. And I've seen that. That's another thing too. That definitely would love to discuss is our Canna entertainment industry and the different tiers that we
Lots of
offer,
stuff.
from Dom Live to what we had. All the different.
Yeah.
So
Temple Market on
Full market.
Sunday,
Oh yeah. They had, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like I've seen all sorts of different levels on
For
that
sure.
too. And again, that's where we want safety.
Yeah.
And we want consistency
Yeah.
and regulation. and you know, and trust,
Mhm.
and we're still trying to earn that
Yeah.
with cannabis because it's just a dark,
Yeah.
nasty thing
And we
that we're
just gotta-
trying to, you know, bring into a light
Yeah.
and give it legitimacy,
Yeah.
not only for the users but just for the plant itself.
Yeah.
So here we are trying to, because I even heard that from a couple of senators. We want bona fide. We want to see the test results. We want to see this and that, but we can't give it to them because we've been stunted in our
Yeah.
research for over 80 years. So how do we catch up? In order to quickly,
On that note,
let's go
we're
ahead
gonna go medicate
and go
break
medicate, definitely.
and give you a moment to medicate because I know that this is getting serious.
And caffeinate.
So I
medicate.
feel
He looks like
like
he could use it. But
everyone needs to medicate. So we'll be right back
Come back soon.
and we'll get deep into